Good morning, survivors, and happy Monday. Today we're going to talk about how you can free your mind from the chains of narcissistic abuse and gain some new perspective. All right, so let's get started.
My name is Angie Atkinson, and this channel is all about teaching you what I know to be true. You really can create the life you want.
But first, do you have your coffee? This is the cup that used to belong to my mother-in-law. My sister gave me several of her coffee cups when she passed away. And this cup was from Cook's Club, which I've never heard of before, but I think it's pretty old. I have several of these, and I just really enjoy them because every time I drink out of one of Mom's coffee cups, I always feel like I'm kind of still with her a little bit. So I always appreciate it. Here's a fact. When you have been through narcissistic abuse in a relationship, you will often find yourself having a skewed perspective at the very least, okay? So you've been skewed by, your perspective has been skewed by your past, by the abuse that you've experienced from the narcissist, by the expectations of other people, in generally your emotions and how you haven't been allowed to process them correctly. So we inadvertently kind of trap ourselves with faulty thinking and with generally incorrect perceptions. All right. So a lot of this is habitual and a lot of this is challenging to change, but it can be done. And of course, I'm going to show you how to do it today. So let's talk about it. I'm going to give you 6 tips today on how to free your mind from the chains of narcissistic abuse and change your perspective and change your life in the process. All right. So number 1 is you're going to work on freeing yourself from your past. Now, I know that's a lot easier said than done, especially when we've been abused by narcissists, but hopefully you've learned a lot of valuable lessons from your past. And unfortunately, you've probably learned a lot of incorrect information having been involved with a narcissist. So you've learned to avoid and fear certain things that are actually good for you, and you've learned to like things that maybe you should avoid. So remember this. The past exists primarily to serve you, not to guide you or limit you. So remember to focus on today. Mindfulness, very important in narcissistic abuse recovery. Number 2, take a media diet. What do I mean by that? Well, despite what they would have you believe, the media is hardly about reality. Am I right? It's about ratings. Sure. They might be presenting some factual information. Absolutely. But it's the interesting things and the sensational things that keep people tuning in. And so it's not really the norm. Does that make sense? So remember that the media presents a narrow slice of the world, one that is designed to keep people tuning in at all times. And so TV and newspapers, the way they do their advertisements even, that's how they pay for the service that's being provided to you, especially nowadays in the internet world when everything we can learn is free. Well, that's how we, all of the ads and all the things like this are how we kind of pay our dues by watching those ads, and that's how the stuff is funded generally. So it's the fact is that marketers in general will, they will try to present a certain type of lifestyle because that's what sells. But you need to understand that you have to determine your lifestyle for yourself, and it doesn't have to be one that's acceptable by societal standards as long as it's not hurting anyone and you're not breaking the law officially, in my opinion. But take a break from the news for a while and try to ignore the advertisements, because recording, your programs and skipping through the ads or using Hulu or something like that, it could save you a lot of stress, mentally speaking. Number 3, I want you to start making decisions without concern for what other people think, which is almost impossible for us when we're narcissistic abuse survivors, but you can do it. Because the fact is, if you really think about it, you would probably be able to admit to yourself that you almost always consider how your decisions will affect other people. Now, in some cases, we have to do that because, like, if we're talking about our children, we're talking about people in our daily lives, of course. But some decisions aren't really relevant for other people. And this, maybe is important in a work setting, but in general, you should feel free to kind of be yourself the rest of the time. Does that make sense? So if you don't think your friends are going to approve of your decision, maybe you need to find new friends. People admire and respect you when you're willing to be authentic about yourself. And my friend, you have something amazing within you. But if you can't be yourself, you can't show that part of you to the world. Does that make sense? Number 4, forget about the possibility of being perfect, at least according to society standards. You, of course, can be perfectly yourself, which is a beautiful thing. But, perfection in general is unrealistic. And the fact is that life these days, it's about every day is about dealing with what is imperfect and being okay with that. Your partner, your boss, your children, your job, your body, your finances, the weather, etc. Never going to be perfect. That's life. Your job is to figure out how to manage those imperfections and be happy anyway. Because the fact is, we all have things about us that are not perfect. Like right now, I got a pimple right here. And, that's life. It's life. It's just what life is. So be okay with your pimples. Be okay with the things that aren't perfect in your life. It really does make a difference. This is number 7, consider talking to someone in your life who's older than you, who might have some ideas that you could respect. All right. So for example, if your grandpa wears like socks with sandals when he goes to the beach, and maybe he wears his bathing suit up to his armpits, he still might have some really valuable information for you, something that could change your life. Okay. People, when they get to a certain point in their lives, they might be a little too serious, but people like over the age of 70, for example, tend to have a really unique perspective on life. And quite honestly, if you could spend some time with someone who's older and ask some questions, ask how their perspective has changed over the years, you might be surprised. It's quite likely that you'll experience similar changes in your life as well. Why not experience them sooner? The final tip for today involves the other extreme when we're talking about age. Spend some time with kids. Spend some time with kids who are under the age of 5. They're young enough to not really care what other people think, and quite honestly, are old enough to have their own preferences in the world. So children in this age group, they will do whatever they want if you leave them to their own devices. And interestingly enough, they are psychologically free in most cases at this point in their lives. So ask yourself, what would I do if I had the perspective of a 5-year-old? Imagine what you would do if you didn't need to worry about what anyone else thought. Bottom line, I want you to remember that you should regularly take a mental break from your life and kind of assess yourself and assess your perspective, see where you're at. The challenge with, enhancing your perspective about life is that you're constantly in your life. And so when you're in the middle of it, and like if you're in the middle of the woods, all you can see is the trees. You know what I'm saying? But if you step back, you can see the whole forest. And the woods also have, you might also have like some trees. I already said trees. Oceans, right? They might be in the forest or near the forest. Deserts, mountains. The world also has those things. And that's the point. It's even more challenging than that, though, because you created the trees in your forest, as it were. And at this point, those quote unquote trees are kind of limiting you. And so, every now and then you just need to pull back and get a new perspective. Move beyond your past, free your mind, and start changing your life to make it what you want it to be. It's a beautiful thing, my friend. It really is. How's that for Monday motivation, huh? All right, I'm about to wrap up. A couple of things before I do. Number 1, I'll be traveling the next few days with my sister, so you'll have some vlogs from me on that. I'm doing something kind of exciting. I'm going to Kansas City, where my husband was found as a newborn baby in a telephone booth. Some of you know that story. And I'm going to be doing some research to find out what I can find out. So I'm going to see what I can do and see if there's any way that I can maybe learn the story of his birth. I've been searching for 13 years. So it's very exciting stuff. I'll keep you posted on that if I do learn anything new. Other than that, I'll be around. I'll still be here doing my videos each day, and I'll be back in my office on Wednesday. All right? So if you have comments, questions, concerns, things you want to talk about, leave them in the comments below. If there's anything I can help you with, or if you want me to make a video about a particular topic, leave them below. And hey, if you have personally been successful at changing your perspective in your life, let me know how you do it. You never know who your comments might help. All right? You could help a fellow survivor change their lives just by leaving a comment. It's a beautiful thing, my friend. All right, I'm wrapping up for now. I'll see you guys soon. Have a wonderful day. As always, thank you so much for being a part of my day and a part of my life. And thanks for letting me be a part of yours. It truly does mean a lot to me. I'll see you soon.
It's my mission to teach others what I know to be true. You really can create the life you want. Take care of your body, take care of your soul, nurture the real you, and introduce him or her to the world. Be comfortable in your own skin and in your place in this world. Take your spot, take it now, and the universe will take its cue from you. You feel me? If so, subscribe to my channel. Let's get it done together.